To be honest, I hadn't much experience with Jesus Youth at all until this particular retreat. And I just remember being blown away by the fact that there were young people who were giving talks and just really passionate about sharing their faith. And this was just very influential for me. But if you're able to just walk around the campus and know hey, that's where the stadium is, and this is the football team, this is basketball, just basic things about their life and what college life looks like, then all of a sudden you can really be able to meet the young person or whoever it is in their problems. And sometimes that openness can be a little bit scary because you have this maybe dream or mindset that you want your child, your young person to fulfill. But it might be broken because there is a different possibility, and that could include a vocation.
Welcome everyone to another interview from Kairos Media. We're joined with a special guest here today. Father Rajeev Valiyaveettil is a priest of the Syro-Malabar Eparchy of Chicago, the Syro-Malabar Diocese here in the United States of America. He's also been very involved in different ways with the youth over the years and with Jesus Youth even before he was a priest. He's been ordained a priest for a few years now. We've been very lucky to have this opportunity to just sit and chat about a few of his experiences from his first few years as a priest, and also about some of his experiences with youth ministry and even just with the movement. So, Father, thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
It's pretty good, as good as things get during COVID and all that. So
yeah, hopefully there's a light out of this tunnel. We're hopefully going to get there soon.
Yeah, I think so. The Lord's been good to us, and we're still doing pretty healthy. I think what a lot of people are interested to know is in what ways youth ministry contributes to the vocation of a priest. So what was it like in your experience? How did youth ministry shape your vocation?
Well, I don't think I would have ever embraced my vocation, to be a priest if it weren't for more than youth ministry as a general, particular individuals who were very active in taking up this mission just to be present to youth. Obviously, my family was very influential, but I think to be able to really take the steps towards embracing my vocation, particular figures who had this heart for youth really helped me in so many ways. So I was blessed, Chris, to be able to go to a Catholic high school, and there was a lot of teachers, the campus minister, my religion teacher, who took an interest in just being able to share the faith. So that was huge. But I guess one of the most important experiences for me in terms of experiencing men and women who were passionate about youth was when I went to a Jesus Youth retreat. It was just the end of my freshman year in high school, and I went to this retreat. It was in Miami, and I'm originally from Tampa, and they came under the umbrella of Jesus Youth. To be honest, I hadn't much experience with Jesus Youth at all until this particular retreat, and I just remember being blown away by the fact that there were young people who were giving talks and just really passionate about sharing their faith. And this was just very influential for me. I don't remember much about the retreat itself, but I just remember that there were young people in their just in college or towards the end of college. Father Timmy, who's now he's a priest. He was a young person at the time at a retreat like this helping out, and it was it just stuck with me to the point where I continued to stay involved in the church because I saw that there were young people who cared, that they wanted to take their faith seriously. So I saw that in Jesus Youth, and even when I went to the local parishes, to be able to find youth who were interested really helped me in my just growth in terms of embracing the faith. But then in particular, when it came to my own vocation, as I had this kind of inkling of maybe I'm called to priesthood, I remember sharing with Jesus Youth full-timers. We had 2 full-timers when I was in college in Florida, and I shared with them, even before I talked to my parents, that I am thinking about priesthood. And so just that comfort that I had with people who were having this great heart for youth ministry really was foundational for me to be able to take up eventually the vocation that I did.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it really strikes me how, like, when you talk about Jesus Youth, it's like young people ministering to young people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're all in it together. We're all walking in the same path, in the same boat. And I feel like just that, I guess they call it the art of accompaniment, how much of a difference it can just make in someone's life. And, I'm sure you would have found your vocation no matter what in the Lord's plan.
Sure.
You would have made sure there was an opportunity. But it's really cool to hear how Jesus Youth got to be such a special part of it, and just how the movement was able to give you so much encouragement in your own vocational journey. And now you're a priest.
Yeah.
And what were some moments that really challenged you with working with the youth in the parish, or maybe even outside the parish? Not just in COVID, but just like in general. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever approached it in the sense like, man, where are the youth being challenged the most? I think every young person goes through something different, but it's just being able to be present in their particular situation. A lot of times I can maybe hear a youth is going through certain problems, but then when you are able to just put yourself in the context of the family, right? And I guess that's one of the cool things about being a priest, is that I'm not just someone ordained just to be there for people under the age of 13 or from 13 to 20. Like, you're a priest for everyone, and so you kind of have a neat place to be able to minister by just being present in the context of family. So like, you understand that, okay, he's going through certain problems, but then you also just go and just talk to mom or dad and understand their perspective too. And so knowing kind of the different sides of where there's struggle, maybe you can try to meet them more because you're someone that is there, present in the situation.
Yeah, you're kind of like a mediator or a bridge.
Yeah, and even just like, I know, I mentioned just going to colleges and visiting colleges. That was cool because you can give a lot of advice to people, especially young people, and it's just gonna go out the other year. But if you're able to just walk around the campus and know, like, hey, that's where the stadium is, and this is the football team, this is basketball, just basic things about their life and what college life looks like, then all of a sudden you can really be able to meet the young person or whoever it is in their problems. And so I've never really taken the approach of like, this is the single problem that's there, just, okay, he's got something, let's go and meet him and see where he's at, go to his family, or just understand the situation.
My dear friends, parents, and beloved children, I would like to introduce you something very special for the children and parents. Kairos buds. Recently, a new initiative from Jesus Youth Movement. And this Kairos buds, specially meant for children and parents. Children are counted to be the most precious part of the society. Once Jesus was asked who will enter into the kingdom of heaven, he looked around and brought forth a small child and said, all those who become like children will go to heaven. The possibility in the children is like a horizon. Very often we are not able to tap the resources in the children. And Kairos Buds is a new initiative of Jesus Youth to tap the resources of the children. It is very much informative. Informations regarding values, regarding visions, regarding the missions. It is very much inspiring. Small stories, small homeworks, so small anecdotes, very much inspiring. And one thing I tell you that I have gone the 4 latest issues, very much attractive, very much attractive. It gives a lot of motivation. So I am very happy to introduce Kairos Buds to my beloved children, the teachers, and their parents. It's a recent publication, but at the same time is most relevant, most realistic, and most useful. Please subscribe Kairos Buds, and it will be very big instrument to be faithful, to be fruitful, to be beloved children of Jesus. May God bless you.
You had mentioned before how attending some Jesus Youth retreats and experiences with different people in the movement and some full-timers had shaped you when you were young on your own journey. So what's your relationship like now with Jesus Youth? How do they play into your life now that you're a priest?
Yeah, Jesus Youth has been with me ever since that high school retreat that I attended many years ago. And there's a whole story in the journey to where I am right now that involves Jesus Youth. And oftentimes I even, like, in this journey, kind of said, I maybe don't need to be so connected to Jesus Youth Movement because I've been inspired, I've seen a lot of good people, but I'm on my own path. But then again, I kind of came connected to the movement, So like, I'll just give one example. When I was in Rome, I thought, I'm going to Rome, I'm going to be in the center of where the Catholic Church is, and I'm in a seminary where I'm going to be studying in Italian. There's no way I'm going to be involved in Jesus Youth there, but there happens to be a youth group, and Jesus Youth animators are there to help conduct that youth group. And I find myself not even after a few months there and regularly going for a prayer meeting of Jesus Youth in Rome, right? So it's always been like that for me, where, you know, I love the Jesus Youth Movement, but I feel like maybe I'm not, I don't need to be too involved or too connected. But then, you know, I get connected to the movement somehow and wherever I go. Jesus Youth is also very present in the life of the church. You know, teaching catechism and just helping out with different parts of the parish. So, yeah, I mean, Jesus Youth is just, it's there. It's part of my life, and it's definitely been a part of the parish life too.
That's awesome. And it's always nice to hear when priests speak well about Jesus Youth, just because, you know, we are at the service of the church as a movement. And,
right.
You know, that's really our calling, is to serve the church. And just hearing how, you know, even in Rome, there's somehow, and there's a Jesus Youth there too.
Sure.
And I can relate from just moments in my life, even where I'll be in some random place and like for daily mass, and it's happened to me even where, you know, the one other person at daily mass happens to be a Jesus Youth. But it's like a blessing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a big family like that. So I'm glad that you've had similar experiences with that. So, Father, what would your advice be to parents in dealing with the youth, dealing with their children? And of course, we know the struggles of the world today, and so many parents are concerned for their kids. But what is your advice to parents?
Parents have always the right intention. You know, they love their kids, but I think oftentimes there maybe isn't enough listening on both sides, you know, from the parents and also from the youth or from the kids. So being able to just be open and having the conversations. You know, I just know from my own experience in my family, parents taking the interest of really trying to understand what's going on. Oftentimes we can live in the same house, but we're living in separate houses, you know. There's two different realities. So just trying to be able to connect the realities, and it can happen in very basic ways of having like a group chat, you know, because a lot of times we're maybe not always in the house together. I mean, during Corona, of course, but you know, just being able to communicate and say, hey, you know, this is going on. Even to ask for like a prayer request, like if you know, if dad's got something going on, and to be somewhat vulnerable to his child and say, you know, hey, keep me in thoughts, keep me in prayers, is key. Like, obviously there is a gap that's there between parents and youth because of age, but if anything that we've been talking about is relevant, is that, you know, like this source that we have in the faith and being able to grow in ultimately like embracing Jesus allows us to not have to be super strong. Like, I've got it all figured out. Like, I'm still kind of on my way, and you know, hopefully I'll get there in heaven, and I want you to be there in heaven with me. So being able to be somewhat vulnerable, being open, asking questions, just really just trying to understand each other. It's amazing how, you know, like you can have a conversation and you've been living with a person for so many years, but you can learn something new every time. And I've seen that in my priesthood, just sometimes sitting at a dinner table and just trying to, you know, just ask the dad about what he knows about his son, or the son, what does he know about his dad? And there can be some really beautiful answers where it's just like, wow, I didn't know that. So just being able to really converse and talk is key. And sometimes that openness can be a little bit scary because you have this maybe dream or mindset that you want your child, your young person to fulfill. But it might be broken because there is a different possibility, and that could include a vocation. You know, all of us have a vocation, you know, to be holy and to embrace, whether it be priesthood, whether it be religious life or marriage or being a single consecrated. But that openness allows the Lord to kind of come into the space. And, you know, ultimately when the Lord's there, there's real possibility of happiness. And, you know, maybe your son or daughter might embrace a vocation that isn't exactly what you feel comfortable with, but that might be such a blessing in the future moving forward.
Yeah, so parents always having that openness and being willing to listen to their kids, even when it's hard, and maybe especially when it's hard. And of course, that openness includes openness to vocation. So yeah, I think that's really solid advice for all of us, not just parents. But you know, we're at about time now, and they're very busy these days, despite the quarantine and the COVID and all that's going on in the world. But we're very thankful for your time with us, Father, and we certainly wish Father Rajeev all the best on his journey and wherever the Lord will take him next. And we pray that the Lord will continue to inspire you and to guide you, and that you'll always live a life led by the Spirit. So thank you, Father. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Chris.
From just a Malayalam magazine with circulation mainly in India, Kairos magazines have now reached out to many countries and cultures through the introduction of its English magazine Kairos Global in 2017. Kairos Global is being circulated now in more than 25 countries through print, digital and audio mediums. In 2021, Kairos has come out with a new initiative, a magazine for children of age group 3 to 12 called Kairos Buds, and also Kairos Buds Diary. In the last couple of years, Kairos has also started publishing various books authored by Jesus Youth leaders and mentors.